welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make a top quilt, a bit like this one which I made a couple of weeks ago. So my plan is to make two similar top quilts, one to use inside the other, so that I've got a summer weight bag, which is this one, and then a 3-season bag, which is what I'm going to build today, and then hopefully the two will work together to make a 4-season bag. So I'll have all-round use, all-round warmth with just two top quilts. So for the bag I've just shown you, this is the design that I had. So it's narrow at the foot, and that's the bit which is sewn up, that's the pocket bit, and then getting wider to the top end. And then this rectangle at the end is the footbox. So when this is all sewn together, that provides a nice footbox at the end. So the installation in there is 3.6 ounce Apex, which has a claimed temperature rating of 5 degrees C. And the one I'm going to build today is going to be slightly warmer. So let me show you the design for that. So because the idea that these two bags will work together, and the one I'm going to make today is going to be going around the outside of the first one, I made this one slightly bigger. So the main dimensions are the same, but instead of coming in and straight down, it's just a little bit wider at the sides here. And that should help it go around. That affected this footbox bit slightly, but I think it's only a few centimetres and it shouldn't worry too much. All these measurements here are in centimetres, by the way. And then this is made with 5 ounce Apex, so that's 0 degrees C as a rated temperature rating. This little strip down the side that I've left, that's used to make the channel at the top for the draw cord to go around, so that's why I've taken off that 5 centimetre strip down the side. Now, when I made my last bag, I made it inside out first, sewed it together, and then turned it right around. And that produced a lovely neat seam on these outside bits here. So I like that, and I'll do that again. But what it did mean is that on these bits where the edges are then sewed together, it's sort of quite big and bulky because it was turned inside out and then turned inside out again to sew the two bits together. And I think there's a better way of doing these inside bits in here. So part of it, these long sides, which are visible, I'll sew those inside out. But for the other bits, so around the footbox and around here, I think I've got a better idea for that, and I'll show you that when I get to it. So I've already cut out the installation of the fabric. Here it is. It's a bit too big to fit on my whole table all in one go, but you can see here. So I've got the layer of insulation, and I've got the inner fabric and the outer fabric. So the last one was green, this one's like a olive brown kind of colour. It looks kind of shiny here, but this is going to be on the inside because the sides which are on the outside are actually together at the moment. When it gets turned inside out, that will become the inside. So the fabric that I'm using is called HyperD 1.0. It weighs 1 ounce per square yard. I think that's about 33 grams per square metre. So it's super light, but it's also super tough. It's used for a hammock, so if it can hold someone's weight, it can certainly hold a bit of insulation around me, which makes the whole thing really light. So 5 ounce per yard for the insulation, and then 1 ounce per yard for each of the layer of the fabric. So hopefully the whole thing altogether will certainly be less than a kilogram. And then added to the other one will make it a really good lightweight winter sleeping system. So for my first step, this foot end of the tapered edge I'm going to leave for now, but the straight edge along the side here, just currently being held together with these little plastic clips. I was going to sew this inside out first, and again on the other side, and then we'll flip it round, and then I will sew the other edges, and we'll see how that looks. Now, as I mentioned, on the first quilt I made, I've got these little tags sewn into it, which will attach to the sleeping pad. But as you can see, they're sewn on the inside. So the way to do those, so I've got some little small strips of elastic cord here, and the clips. So I've got 2 clips in total, maybe a half on each one. So if I open one up, feed the elastic cord through the hole, and then for the positioning, I'm just going to line up the existing bag. This should give me a rough idea of where I want it to go. Looks like it's about here. And then this needs to go in between the inner and the outer. but also facing inwards. So it's going to be lined inside. So I'm not going to be able to see it when I sew it, which is going to make it tricky, but I'll do my best. So I've got outer plastic, inner fabric, and I'm going to put one of these clips to hold it in place. So I'll just repeat that. There's one more on this side and then two on the other side. Get these 4 clips lined up in the right places. I've just had an idea. When I'm using these 2 together, it might be quite useful to be able to clip the inner and the outer together, but then also to be able to clip it to the sleeping pad. So what I'm going to do actually, take that off. Instead of just having 1 clip on there, I'm going to put 2. And then what that will mean is that if I'm just using this one by itself, it can just clip on. If I'm using the bigger one by itself, I can just clip on. But if I'm using the 2 together, I can clip these together and also clip it to the sleeping pad. I think that will work. Let's give it a go. Right, here we go. Okay, got to the next clip now, but unfortunately, part of it's come out and the clips have come off. So I now need to reattach that. Let's get these back on. It's annoying these because they've got to be tucked inside so that when you turn it around they appear outside, but it means you can't see them when you're sewing them. It looks nice when it's done. Just a pain to get it done right. There we go. So 1, 2 right up to the edge. Then the inner layer on top of that. Then the insulation. Now hold it while it all goes through together. Alright, I'm on day 2 now, hence the change of sleeves. So if you're wondering why I've changed, that's why. It's a different day. I just want to show you one of the changes I've done today. On the foot, what I've done is I've put a little bit of masking tape over the front of the foot. And what that's doing, it's stopping the sticking out bits of the foot digging into the insulation. So it's going through a bit smoother today. And there we go. That's the end of the inside out sewing. So now turn it right way around and we'll see how that looks. So with the sides pinned together, you can see now the outside very dark brown fabric and inside the light grey. And on the edge, on the seam, you can see the loop that I put in, but against the light it's easier to see, with the 2 toggles on there. So one to clip to the inner and then one to clip to the sleeping mat, or if it's on its own, just obviously one to the mat. Unfortunately, I've had a disaster here and only one of the 2 bits of the string got taken in with the sewing. So what that means, my 2 clips are not attached. So I think just what I'm going to have to do is I'll thread them on there and tie a knot, and that's just going to have to cope. There's no way now, I'm not going to unpick that and re-sew it, it's going to be a nightmare. I'm just going to leave it. It's a shame, but it's not the end of the world. So there we go, I've tied that on with a reef knot for now. I'm sure there's some better fancy knot I could have done, but a reef knot seems to hold it. If you've got any good ideas of how I can fix that, let me know. Now then, so this edge here is the top edge, which is what's going to be around my neck, and there's going to be a separate channel put on the edge here for the draw cord to go through, which means I don't need to do anything fancy with the end. I can just sew those flat together. Doesn't matter for any loose ends because they are going to be all hidden away in the channel when that goes on. So this will be a lovely easy seam to do. Right, now for the bottom edge of the top quilt. So these seams are not going to be completely hidden, but they are going to be sewn onto the inside of the bag. So they don't need to be super duper neat, but I don't want them fully exposed like they were at the top. So what I want to try and do, I'm going to take the inner, I'm going to fold it over the insulation, and then take the outer and put it on top like that. So there'll still be kind of a raw edge there, but all the insulation is hidden away, and that's going to be tucked onto the inside of the sleeping bag. So I think that's a good compromise. When I come to sew this edge to the opposite edge, I think that should work out nicely. So I'm just going to get these all clipped together using my clips again, and I'll come back when I've got all those done. So with the clips around the edge, that's ready to be sewn. Now, because the insulation is so puffy, it's kind of trying to burst out here. So the edge I'm going to do first, I'll put loads of clips on to hold it while I sew that. And then as I take those clips off as they get done, I'll put them on the other bits and hold it all in. Okay, corner's getting a bit tricky, but I think I'll just go to that bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to got the needle down, I'm going to lift up the foot, the needle should hold it in place, spin it round, check that's in, foot down, first clip off, in. Here's the footbox end, clipped and ready for sewing together. I cut the insulation bit slightly bigger than the fabric this time, just to make it sort of as puffy as I can and keep my feet as warm as possible. So I just did about an extra ½ inch around the edge, and then obviously when it clips in it just makes it a little bit more puffy, but hence it's trying to escape from every corner. This seems a good time to explain about the two different fabrics I've got. So they're both the same fabric, they're both HyperD 1.0. The difference is the inside is uncalendered, so it's lovely and soft and it's quite breathable, which should let water moisture out. The outside is the same fabric, but it's been calendered, which means that it's been squashed through hot rollers, and that sort of fuses all the fibres together. Now the reason for doing that is normally to make it downproof, because this stops the tiny little holes letting the down out. Now I've not got down insulation, so why have I bothered doing it? Well, it also makes it slightly more waterproof and slightly more windproof. So if there's any breeze, that should not get through to me, but the inside is a little bit softer. Right, that's the main bit all sewn up, the footbox sewn up as well. So the next bit I need to do is the draw cord around the top, and then we'll sew it all together, but I'm going off for a break now. So I'll see you after lunch. This is the 5cm strip which I took off the edge of the fabric I had. So I'm just going to put a hem on each edge of this, and then that will become the channel for the draw cord along the top. With the channel now more or less clipped in place along the edge, you can see that covers the scrappy end I had. Now one end of the channel, it's a bit hard to see, but I've hemmed the edge of the channel as well here, so that will all get tucked in and look a bit neater. At the other end, because I had a bit spare left over, now that it's all pinned in place, I'm going to cut this about here-ish, and then I'll fold it in and hem that in as well. Okay, I've got about every clip I've got on this now. I've hemmed in the edge That's the right end at each end, so it should neaten up slightly where the string's going to come in and out of. Now it's going to be tricky this, because I've got to make sure that it's over enough so that the thread goes through the fabric and through the insulation, and make sure that it catches it on the other side, and that it leaves enough room for the cord to run through freely. So it's going to be a bit of a balancing act, but this is only 1.4 metres long. I've got a clip about every 3 or 4 centimetres. If I take this slow and steady. Okay, here we go. Here's the cords I'm going to put through the channel, but obviously trying to feed that through there is not going to work, it just won't go through. So I've got a big skewer from the barbecue, and hopefully I can feed this all the way through without piercing anywhere. It's not too sharp at the end actually, it looks sharp but it's not very sharp. There we go, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. There we go. Now it gets a little bit wider at the end here, I don't know if you can see that, but that's quite handy because what I can do, tie my simple knot round here, and then pull it back. Hopefully. I don't want to pull too hard, I guess, rip it. I think it's just this first bit, isn't it? Put it that way. There we go. There's my pullets. Feed it through. There. Just have the last little bit. There we go, we've got it. So we've got now a bit of cord going all the way through, and I can pull that tight to cinch it tight around my neck or keep it loose. So what I'm going to do is I'll measure that, get it the right length, and then I'm also going to put these little clips that I've got on the side. I'm also going to put one of those each on this, so I can clip it around my neck if I want it, or just leave it open. And that's the plan for that. Right, all clipped up now, so there's the foot box in there, inside out. It looks a bit messy, but once this is sewn up and turned inside out, fingers crossed, it will be beautiful. Right, well that's gone all the way around, but I've got a little bit left over here, so something's gone wrong somewhere, but it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is just sew together that little bit, and then I'll come up. Odd. So now all done, you can see at the foot end, there's the end piece. The bit that went wrong is kind of in there, but you can't really tell, to be honest. I'm really pleased with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my other one and put it inside and see how it all fits together. This is it, all together with the inner that I made a few weeks ago. So that's the green one, and then the dark brown on the outside. You can see the clips together, they'll just sort of hold it, stop it flapping around too much. It's not going to be a tight seal, so it's kind of upside down at the moment. When I sleep in it, let's flip it over. It'll just be like that. And then where are these clips at the side? Then I should be able to then clip this to my mat, and I'm just going to make some quick bits of elastic on the mat. I'm going to show you that all together now. So, well, it'll be a few seconds for you, a few minutes for me. And here are the straps on the mat that I was talking about. So it's just a little bit of elastic all the way around, and I've put a half clip or 2 half clips on each one. So there and there, and they will clip into the third one on here. So obviously I've got 2 clips clipping together, but then there's also a third one. So that will clip into here, and it will all join up to be one magnificent sleeping system. And there we have it, all done. So the sleeping pad is underneath there, and then it's just clipped in. That should just stop it moving around and falling off in the night, keeping the 2 inner and outer together. And then if it's a bit warmer, I can take the inner out, and if it's warmer still, I'll take the outer out and just use the inner. So the insulation is, the inner one is rated at 5 degrees and the outer one is rated at 0 degrees Celsius. I suspect I need to add 5 degrees onto each of those, because I can never believe what manufacturers say, which should make it 10 degrees and 5 degrees, and then together, hopefully that will then take me down to below 0. It rarely gets below -5 in the UK, so I'm hoping that these 2 top quilts here together can be my year-round sleep system. I'm just going to weigh them now and see what weight we're looking at. Okay, for weighing it, I put it in a stuff sack just to make it a bit easier to get the scales. It's not fully compressed, it will go down a lot more than that. But let's see what that is. I've zeroed it with the stuff sack on, so this will just be the thing that's looking just a shade over 600 grams. For comparison, the inner bag, the slightly thinner one, that is coming in just about 500, so slightly over 500 grams. So 1,100 and something, just 1.1 kilograms for the whole system. What's that, about 2¼ pounds. Happy with that. Job done. So all that's left now is to get in and give it a go. I've got both layers here. Feet in the end. Yep. Swing over the neck. Oh, little pillow. Oh, yes. That's brilliant. So I've got the feet right at the end. Put that there. And it's just big enough to cover my head. But I normally don't sleep with my head under. I'd much rather have a big woolly hat and sleep like this. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it's been informative, if not entertaining, and check out some of my other videos. Bye!